everyone. Welcome to this episode of Practicing Connection. I am Coral and I'm here with my co-host Jessica. And today we're diving into something a little different, but super essential, which is how to share what you've learned with others. Hey, Jessica, how's your week going?
Hey, Coral, I'm good. Honestly, this theme has been on my mind a lot. There's something about wrapping up a learning journey and then turning around to share it that just feels right to me. But I also work in the education field, so I guess that makes sense. I might be a little biased.
That does track. I love that though. Yeah. Any personal stories or moments from this week where you just found yourself wanting to shout like, I learned this. Everyone needs to know.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm in a systems thinking class right now, and we have been talking about VMCL, which stands for Vision, Mission, Capacities, and Learning. I just finished the portion that discusses developing your learning systems. These are the systems of feedback that you set up to continually learn from, and the systems you set up so that your team can make the most of their professional development by sharing what they learn with others on the team. So super relevant to today's topics. And I do feel like I have to note that the class and the podcast converging at the same time was not planned.
But very a happy accident.
Yeah,
I think as Bob Ross would say. But yeah, VMCL, that's a new one for me. But I am so excited to dig into this more. And it is such a nice feeling when things align like that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I know in previous episodes, we typically zero in on like one practice specifically for our listeners to try, but I was thinking maybe we shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, and there's actually a pretty fascinating reason behind it. Studies show that when you teach others, you invest more effort, you spend more time on the material, and you achieve better outcomes, even if your student is just a digital teachable agent. It's called the protege effect. And this protege effect happens because teaching requires you to organize your thoughts, to identify gaps, and to explain ideas clearly, which deepens your own understanding and memory. And I have to say, I went down just the tiniest rabbit holes that I'm going to bring up here right now. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, those who can't teach. Have you heard that before?
I have.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty derogatory and it's really not helpful. And frankly, it's not even what the original phrase came from Aristotle. And Aristotle said, those who can do, and those who understand teach.
Oh,
Yeah. And so it kind of,
interesting.
during, I forget which play, but during like a play, they kind of messed with the language a little bit and it ended up turning into this like long-term derogatory thing that we say basically people who teach, they teach because they can't actually do the work. And that's not true at all. Teachers have to both be able to do it and they have to be able to stay on top of everything and understand. So anyway, this is why the protege effect works. It's not just about mastering the content either. So reviews of decades of research show that regular knowledge sharing among employees leads to greater innovation, to better team performance, and stronger collaboration. So when knowledge sharing is part of your group's routine, it helps you grow, adapt, and succeed, especially in times of change. But here's the thing. Most effective sharing doesn't just happen one way. So research also shows that combining different types of knowledge sharing, like mini workshops, quick write-ups, or emails even, peer coaching, and more, actually builds a much richer culture of learning. So, Coral, that's why we've put together a roundup of practices today. And I think we've done this a couple times in the last month, and it's been kind of fun.
It really has been. And it's kind of like a smorgasbord or charcuterie of strategies. You can just take what works and, try and iterate as you go through some different strategies. So yeah, let's do it.
And I think you just invented something, a charcuterie of ideas instead of a smorgasbord. I love that.
I'll take credit.
Charcuterie of
I'll
options.
take full credit.
All right, please do. Okay, so the first practice that we pulled together is hosting a mini workshop or a lunch and learn. In my organization, during the pandemic, we actually did these kind of learning pop-ups where if you had knowledge to share, you would just send everyone an email and say, hey, if you can make it, great, but I'm going to do it this time, this day, and we'll record it, in case you can't make it. But Whatever way works for you, this doesn't need to be anything fancy. Just carve out 20 minutes, 30 minutes to show your team what you've learned, use a practical example, and invite questions. Making it interactive actually will boost both your team's retention and your own.
I love that idea of like a pop-up workshop or, just something like, oh, hey, I learned this thing, and just harnessing that energy and that excitement and then passing it along. I think too, sometimes we kind of overcomplicate this idea of a workshop. Like it has to be this full-blown training complete with slides and handouts and, all of these knowledge checkpoints. And really, just like you said, even 15 or 20 minutes can be so useful to spark some great conversation and brainstorming, even innovation.
Yeah. And you can use slides if you want to, especially if it helps you get your point across. And
yeah, absolutely.
Whatever works for you. But let's move on to the next one. So this next one is create bite-sized training resources. So you could record a short video on a new tool that you've learned. You could write a quick how-to with or without screenshots, whatever your preference. It's your resource. Or you could make a checklist to share in your team chat, or if you've got a team wiki or, some other space where you typically share things like that. This approach caters to different learning styles. So some people might prefer the checklist or they might prefer a video, but it also caters to your own style of wanting to share information. So catering to different learning styles is another element that is kind of found to increase knowledge retention and sharing at work.
Absolutely. I am personally a, trend towards like the video screen capture with some of like the voiceovers. But I love that there are so many formats, especially leveraging different types of technologies these days for quick gathers of information with a little bit of an additive narration or whatever that make it so easy to distribute and capture knowledge and share it along with people who may benefit from it.
Yeah, I would say an incredible example of this is you created a training video for me on how to post these podcast episodes to our WordPress page. And I think it's silent. And if it isn't silent, then, I never heard the sound. But even when it was silent, like I could see, the mouse was circling a certain thing and clicking on it. And I still use that sometimes to remember if I missed something, right? I don't want to miss something. It was perfect. And then you posted it in a shared space and it was easy to find. So let's move on to the next one. This is another favorite of mine. Try doing one-on-one peer coaching. Showing a colleague firsthand how you're using a new process or a new skill can really spark change. And the peer tutoring effect actually boosts your own mastery as well.
Agreed, Jess. This is actually one of my favorites as well. And I've noticed that when I take time to walk someone through a process, I almost always catch myself noticing opportunities to elevate how something flows or help it work more smoothly. And teaching never fails to sharpen my own skills as well.
Yeah. All right. Next up, if you love writing, this is for you. You can create and send a tips and tricks email or a mini newsletter to your colleagues or to whoever you're trying to teach what you're learning to. You could sum up your top learning points and how it's helped you. This really makes the knowledge easily accessible, and it creates a record for your team to refer back to and for you to refer back to.
Absolutely. I think this was, probably 8-10 years ago when I first started particular professional track in my life. There were a number of blogs that I would refer to about, educational technology and learning so much from those just widely available resources, but having that sort of personal knowledge database to track your own journey, which is something that we talked about in our previous episode. It's really cool to see those skills developments as well.
Yeah. And I would say too, if you do this one, you could easily then turn it into, I think the second practice we shared, the creating bite-sized training resources. Like you could repurpose it too, and vice versa, right? So next up, we have team huddles and book clubs. I love this option. Team huddles or book clubs can offer a regular space for everyone to share what's working for them. So having these structured opportunities for exchange is linked to more resilient and innovative teams.
Yeah, this is something that I've actually done with colleagues throughout the years, especially the book clubs. And initially, some people were like, oh, I don't have time every week to do this. But sometimes it would kind of be like, you said, pop-up trainings. It would be kind of like a pop-up book club. Like if there was a particular book that a few folks were interested. It's like, hey, well, let's just do a pop-up book club for, a particular, 4 or 6 weeks. And then maybe it'd be dormant for a little while until the next quarter. And then we kind of pop it back up or breathe more life into something else. But yeah, it's just so fun when it's sort of baked into the way that you work. And there is sort of that culture shift as well of you don't have to overthink it. It just becomes part of what you do.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Invite a teammate to shadow you as you try a new skill, or run a live demo so others can see it in action. Interactivity like this, including observation and hands-on trial, is shown to significantly improve retention and understanding.
Absolutely. Things 100% stick way better when we're able to see them and experience them firsthand. You're so right.
Yeah. So that's why we did a roundup this time, because the research is pretty clear. When sharing is varied, so when you can employ more than one option, when it's regular and part of daily life, everyone, including the person doing the sharing, learns more, they feel more confident, and it contributes to a stronger, more adaptable team.
Awesome. Yep. And you heard it here. So I would love to, I know that we've got our mailbag open. So we would love to hear if y'all try out some of these practices or combine a few, see what works. Please share with us what's working. Just what is the best way for everybody to get in touch with us?
Yeah, so share your stories, your struggles, your wins at practicingconnection@oneop.org, and maybe we'll feature them on a future episode. Until next time, keep learning, sharing, growing, and of course, keep practicing.
The Practicing Connection podcast is a production of OneOp and is supported by the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Office of Military Family Readiness Policy, U.S. Department of Defense, under award number 2023-48770-41333.